Hi, friends, and welcome back. I was thinking today about how we got started in homeschooling, and it has been an ongoing process over a few years. And the process has been going on over a few years, with it starting with my partner and I talking about educational choices and what we wanted for our daughter. And this is when she was just an infant. And one of the topics that came up was the possibility of homeschooling, which neither of us at that time knew much about. And so I was home then, and so I started doing the research. I went to the local libraries and checked out pretty much every book they had that said homeschooling or home education or unschooling or anything in that topic, and just started educating myself about it and talking with my partner about it. Um, and it was really interesting. It was completely foreign to us both, and so this was something really new and exciting. And as we went along, um, we decided that that was definitely what we wanted to do. And then the way it went along, we were in the U.S. and then we moved to Queensland, and we were in a small rural country town where there really wasn't a homeschooling community. About an hour's drive away, there was a massive homeschooling community that we could tap into, but it was an hour's drive each way to do that. But our daughter at that time was 3 and 4 years old. Um, we did enroll her in a kindy for a while, and she had a great experience. It was a play-based kindy. There were no tables, no worksheets, or anything like that, which at 3 and 4 years old, you wouldn't think there would be, but in the US, it's very normal for there to be worksheets. They didn't do that, so it was very play-based. And she had great fun, we had great fun, but it was really interesting because as that school year here in Australia was winding down, they started arranging tours of the local schools, and we got caught in the wheel of the system, and we ended up enrolling her in public school. And it was like, how did this even happen? But it's just such a rhythm that even though everybody that was there, I had talked with them about how we were going to homeschool. It's you just get caught up in the current, and I was just go with the flow. And I was having a really hard time with that because the prep year of school, that year before year one, whatever you call it, that she would have been enrolled in, she would have not been 5 years old yet, and it would have been all day long. And I was just, she was a baby. And I was just horrified. I'm like, no, this isn't right. But it was just the norm. And the other parents with the young children were, when I would try to talk with them about it, they were like, I don't see the problem. And I'm like, I do. But anyway, we ended up not having to deal with that. We ended up moving back to the US. And while we were there, we still continued on the path that we were going to homeschool her. And so we still had, because of the way the school years offset each other, we had a year and a half before she would have been enrolled in kindergarten. And we had planned on homeschooling. And so at that time, we were looking at I was looking at curriculum and found a literature-based program that was very relaxed, and it covered a lot of the different KLAs, key learning areas, within the context of the curriculum that we studied for a week. The curriculum was called 5 in a Row. Really great program. We did enjoy it. But what happened was, because there was no community in that area that we were able to connect with, I lost my confidence and ended up enrolling her in kindergarten, which is the US version of the year before first grade. They use different words. Um, and it was just horrible. I mean, it probably wasn't any different from anybody else's experience, except that for me, I was already so much deschooled that not everything, but so much of what they did just made me go, ah, it was just cringeworthy to me. And so it was difficult. It was difficult. So she finished out that school year. From then on, we homeschooled. And when we moved from the US to here, we just brought homeschooling with us. The really great thing about this move is that there was a well-established, very active homeschooling community that we were able to tap into. And that has been an amazing experience, both for Isabel and myself, to have the friendships and the connection and the support right there. So community is really, really important in homeschooling. So what I've learned, because that was 3 years ago, we moved here in 2017, and in this short period of time of being a part of a community, I have met so many different people. So when people ask me, who homeschools, isn't it very exclusive? No. No, it's not. Demographically, everyone homeschools. So if you're thinking about homeschooling and wondering if it's right for you, if it's your people, if you're going to be able to find your tribe, yeah, if you do the work, your people are here. So demographically, everybody homeschools. I mean, we've met races, financial situations, like from every postcode. If there's not somebody in your neighborhood who's homeschooling, there's definitely somebody in your postcode who's homeschooling, because it is becoming that widely distributed across all demographics of the population. So how do we homeschool? We take a very relaxed version of it. We don't actually recreate school at home. Some families do. We don't. We prefer a more natural learning path. That's why we called our channel The Natural Learning Lifestyle. So learning is natural. Children are born to learn. They are learning from birth, possibly prior, I don't know. But so a lot of her learning is through her experiences, and sometimes we influence those experiences a little bit to broaden her scope, and other times we just let her go at it and have her own experience. We do a lot of reading. So is homeschooling expensive? Depends on how much money you spend on it. For us, no. We make heavy use of the public libraries, and it's not uncommon during normal times for us to have 30 or 40 and 50 books at a time. But we might have some history, and we might have some economics, and we might have some history, and we might have a huge collection of literature, and we might have some graphic novels. So we've got some pleasure reading, and then we've also got some, well, it's all pleasurable, but we've got some fiction and some nonfiction all together. And the libraries have so many resources available to us. So there's books and ebooks and audiobooks and music from around the world. Just so many resources available. So we make heavy use of the library and don't buy a lot of curriculum. And that keeps our costs down. Do we do school every day? We don't. It's just not what we do. So we don't have a set time every day where we all sit at the table and we do school. Some families do. And the thing is, each family has to find their rhythm and their processes that work for them. And that's what's really great about the large homeschooling community, is you can usually find other families on a similar journey to your own to share experiences and support with. But the community is very open and inclusive of everybody, regardless of their personal choice of style. So it doesn't really matter. Where do we homeschool? Everywhere. No, like literally everywhere. So some of it is at home, but like I said, we don't do school at home. So it can be out on a nature walk. It can be surfing down at Torquay. It can be snorkeling out of Queenscliff. It can be on a road trip to Queensland. It's everywhere. It's at a friend's house when we go spend the afternoon there with the kids baking and then playing for the afternoon. It can be the museums. It can be walking through the city. It can be walking up the Macedon Range. It's everywhere. It's finding the learning and the opportunities for learning in any situation. At the same time, we don't make every opportunity into a learning opportunity, because we also have to just live life and enjoy life. See what I mean? So what is homeschooling? Well, it's natural learning based at home rather than in an institution, and it allows a freedom and a creativity and a closeness within our family that we enjoy. Most families don't do school at home. I think that's safe to say, because school doesn't work for their kids, for a portion of the population. And for other families, they just don't want that experience for their kids. They want something more natural and friendly to their kids. So is homeschooling for you? I don't know. I don't. It could be. And if you've had the experience of the remote learning that the schools are forcing onto you, and you're uncertain about how to go forward, you're not convinced you want your child to go back into the schools with the viral situation the way it is, but you don't necessarily want to continue with remote learning, or they may be ending that choice for you, I would encourage you to register as homeschoolers, because it is night and day different from having the school in your home, setting the schedule, meeting their criteria and their added level of pressure and control. So in that regard, homeschooling could definitely be an option for you. It's one of those things that you kind of just have to trust and make the leap. So there you go. If you have any questions on this or your own thoughts, I'd love to see them in the comments. It's always fun when I get responses to these videos. And for now, that's all I've got for you, and I will see you later. Thanks for joining me. Bye.